Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. This is my first manga reading wrap up on this channel. I have done some other anime related videos, and while I love doing those, I must confess, please don't put me in jail, that manga is actually something that I consume on a more regular basis than anime, and it's where I go to relax. It's where my heart goes to feel all the giddiness that hearts are so known for. And you know, I really wanted to make this video because I am a reader of all different sorts of material. I read novels, but I also read manga, and while I read manga a lot, I don't consume a lot of manga related content on YouTube, just because there's not as much as other books with a lot of words in them, so like a traditional novel. There's just not a lot of creators creating content about manga. There are manga hauls, and I know there's a lot of those, but there's just not a lot of people talking about the manga that they've read. And I've noticed that even the creators that talk about manga and do manga hauls aren't really that popular. They don't have a lot of subscribers, and I am comparing this to reading, or what we like to call booktubers here on YouTube, or booktokers, whatever platform that you're on, book in front of the platform, social media site's name. There's just not that for manga, and I know a lot of people read manga. Is it just because there's nobody out here talking about it, or do you just not like consuming it as much? I mean, BookTok is popular. It's crazy. The books are well loved, they're hyped, even the creators are well loved. Thousands of subscribers, thousands of views. And when I compare this to, let me put up a really dodgy graph that's not going to be really accurate because I don't have the time to do that and to get real statistics for a video that's probably only going to get 3 views. But nonetheless, booktubers over here are getting on average this many subscribers and this many views. People that are talking about manga are probably getting this many subscribers and this many views. I know these things, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. So I want us to try and change this. I want manga tubers to be as well known as booktubers, to get as many views, to get as many subscribers, because this is a form of entertainment that I really love, and I know that you guys love as well. Okay, so yes, moving on. This is my monthly manga wrap up for the month of April. First one is going to be Sailor Moon. I started out this month in April by reading volumes, 4 and 5. So we have volume 4 and we have volume 5 of Sailor Moon. Now these volumes are out of the box set from Kodansha that they did release quite a while ago, before they came out with the pretty Sailor Moon Guardian Eternal editions, whatever those are called. I'd love to get my hands on those, but I'm not sure if I actually love Sailor Moon as much as a lot of other people do. I'm not sure if it's just nostalgia kind of clouding my appreciation for it or my love for it, because as a kid I loved Sailor Moon. I loved the anime. This is my first time actually reading the manga, so I'm not sure if I'm getting a little bit of fuzziness and a little bit of cloud from nostalgia. I know I'm definitely late to the Sailor Moon manga party, but I am enjoying it. Let me just give you a little bit of because this is obviously volumes 4 and 5. So I have read 1, 2, 3 before I read these ones, and I liked them. I didn't love them. Volume 1 was definitely okay. It brought me back into the world of Sailor Moon. It reintroduced me to all of the characters that I loved as a kid, and watching the anime again as a pre-teen, but it's a lot different to the anime, and I can definitely see those differences, but at the same time, volume 1 was a great introduction for me again, but it just didn't feel as magical as the show. I found volume 1 to be quite slow, but at the same time so fast paced that I had no idea kind of what was going on. One minute they were at the game center, and then the next minute, without even talking about it or foreshadowing it in any way, they were back at the house, and I was just like, Am I missing pages in my volumes? But I think that's just the way that the authors made it. It was very confusing in a lot of parts, and this doesn't just happen in volume 1. This happens all throughout, especially like I've read up to volume 5. It happens up until volume 5. There are places and parts in the story where things have just been left out, and it makes the story almost confusing because there's no explanation, and it kind of takes away from, I know this is manga, okay, but it takes away from the realism of the story and being in the story. Volume 2 was definitely suffering from the same illness as volume 1, but just a little bit better. And you know what, I think the thing for myself is that Sailor Moon is a bit repetitive, and it is more of an episodic series. Kind of goes evil person, meet a new Sailor Scout, destroy said evil person, and back to the start. Especially in these earlier volumes, volume 1, volume 2, at the start of volume 3 as well. It's definitely a lot of this repetitiveness, which isn't what I love. I don't like my plot to be one volume, start plot, end plot, and then the overarching plot is the whole story. I would much rather my plot just continue throughout the whole story and not be so repetitive, but that's kind of what Sailor Moon is like, especially in the earlier volumes. But, and this is definitely a but, we kind of get out of that in volume 3, pretty much halfway in volume 3, I would say, more towards the end, and we start to develop the plot and the characters a lot more, and the story not so repetitive. I'm starting to get repetitive because I keep saying repetitive, but it doesn't keep cloning itself. It's developing itself into more of the story and having that bigger plot. This is more of an arc. Now, what we're talking about, because I read these this month, it's not one separate villain for each volume. We're following this bigger villain and this bigger storyline that we didn't have earlier on in the other volumes. And because of that, I loved volumes 4 and 5. They've been my favorite out of the series, so it's just getting better and better as it goes on. If you're a little bit concerned going into volume 1 and volume 2 that you're not going to like it so much and you're going to feel a little bit bored, hold off until you read volumes 4 and 5 and see what you want to do after that. See what your opinion is, because the world definitely gets a lot more attention. The characters definitely get a lot more development. We're getting to see a lot of things that were kind of foreshadowed on in the previous volumes. Now, not my favorite series, definitely not by a long shot. I think, like I said before, it's more nostalgia based than anything, but I did really enjoy volumes 4 and 5. I think they're really, really good and they're really solid. The series as a whole, I don't think it's targeted for me. It's not my demographic. It's for a younger audience, and I can definitely see if I picked this up when I was a kid, I would absolutely love this so much. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but I like it. I need to read volume 6, but I am putting it off because I don't know if I'm ready for another arc yet. Like I said, I don't like the repetitive nature of having an arc, closing that arc, having an arc, closing that arc. It's not my taste. And at the end of volume 5, we definitely wrap up what we started to develop in volume 3, and that's kind of done now, so it's almost like starting a new story, and I don't think I'm really ready for that quite yet. Maybe next month. We'll see. Tune in for my monthly wrap up next month and see what my opinion is of volume 6. And if I continue on with the story, I definitely want to finish all 12 volumes of Sailor Moon. I don't have the energy to just binge it all. The next series that I did read I definitely started it, is Pastel or Pastel. I digress. Whatever you want to call it. Is definitely a series that is not really in my genre, and I don't really know why I picked this up, but I picked it up because of the covers, because oh my god, those covers and that artwork just it drew me in. Okay, it drew me in. I was drooling. I love the covers so much. I think the art is beautiful and amazing, and it is stunning, but what's on the inside does not match the outside. I read 2 volumes, I think, of this series. I can't even remember now, see? And well, listen, I don't hate this series. I think this is just another case of it's me, it's not necessarily you. This is definitely not targeted at my demographic. I'm not the audience for this. I'm not a young male teenage boy. This is probably not for me. Because there is a lot of fan service in this. And that's kind of what the whole story is about. This series, Pastel, follows a young male teenager who is working at an inn for the summer. He only works there for like the first few chapters, and then he leaves and he goes back home. But while he's at this inn, he meets this girl, and he's put in a lot of situations where he sees a lot of melons and a lot of ulalas and a lot of buns. So this girl, she always catches him, and he is in love with this girl. He sees her and he goes, oh my god, she is beautiful. But she thinks he is a perv and a peeping Tom, of course, because she sees him whenever she's getting changed. And he's not trying to be this sleazy guy. He's trying to be innocent and show this girl that, hey, he's a cool guy. But unfortunately, he's always put in these positions where he gets a lot of fan service. And that's what this series is. It's a lot of fan service. And while I don't necessarily hate fan service, I don't like a series when it is just fan service and there's no real plot to the story. I mean, there's a little bit of a plot, but it's not anything that is drawing me in. It's not anything that is, it's not, the fan service is not just another part of the story. I feel like the fan service is the story. It's a fun comedy, it's a good time, but it's just not for me, you know? I'm not interested in it. I don't really care, so I dropped it, and I don't think I will ever pick this back up again. It's just I really love the covers, and I wish I could have enjoyed this more than I actually did. But, oh well, that's life, I guess, right? I promise the really good ones are coming up, because this was a successful month for me. I did read some of my favorite manga in this month. So, favorite manga. How can you have favorite manga? Some top tier manga, because I have a lot of favorites. So I can't really say my favorites this month, but definitely top tier A+ manga this month. This one makes me so excited because I absolutely loved what I have read of this manga so far. I have stopped just for now, but I will continue it, and that is An Incurable Case of Love, and I fell in love. My god, this manga had me wanting to go to the hospital and finding a really handsome doctor with the attitude of a sour grape to just look at. I love this so much. I don't even know what else to say about it. Wait. I did buy all the volumes because I loved it that much. At the start of April, I did read volume 1 and volume 2. I am yet to pick up the last few volumes just because I wanted to read the author's other works just before I picked this up, because I was online and I was reading reviews, and a lot of the reviews were saying that the author's other works were better, and specifically Happy Marriage was supposed to be better than this lovely manga, but I didn't think so. Anyway, I will talk about that in a little bit, but you know that I love something if I buy it. I have this physically, so you know that I absolutely love this story. We have a nurse, a new nurse, almost like a trainee nurse, going to a hospital because she wanted to be a nurse. Okay, she wants to be a nurse because of this doctor that she met in public in the past, a few years previous to the whole events that are happening now. She met this doctor. He came and helped her grandmother who had, I think, fainted in the street, and he was so nice to her, and she thought he was just so charming and so amazing that she's had this crush on ever since. So she's trained to be a nurse, and now she's going to work at the hospital that he actually works at. But unfortunately, he's not the person that she thought he was. He's completely different, and her feelings this whole time have been unfounded because he's just not nice. He's not a nice person. I love this so much. This is chef's kiss vibes and Take My First Child. I love this so much. It's cute, but it's also sexy. The characters have a lot of depth and dimension to them. And, you know, it's really good. It's really good. I love a sour main male lead character and a happy, cheerful female lead character. But don't worry, there's not a lot of medical jargon in this, just a lot of cuteness and giddiness. So definitely pick this up if you feel like this is something that you would like as well. So I did mention earlier that I wanted to pick up this author's other works, and that is Happy Marriage. Unfortunately, I did not love this as much as An Incurable Case of Love. Other people on the internet, I don't know why, had said that this was their preferred works from this author, and frankly, I just don't see how. Because whoever is saying this is better than The Sexy Nurse and The Sexy Doctor needs to go see a nurse and doctor, because you're very sick and you're very ill. There's clearly something wrong with them, because Happy Marriage is not nowhere near, absolutely not as good as An Incurable Case of Love. It's just not. It's not. Okay, just if you read reviews about that, just like totally take them out of your mind. They're not true. They're not accurate. Happy Marriage is just kind of that snack you want to have in the middle of the night when you're just kind of maybe a little bit bored and you just want something to tie you over. Was it horrible? No, it wasn't horrible. I actually really enjoyed the first half, but it just doesn't stack up to An Incurable Case of Love. And the second half dragged on too much. The characters didn't progress. They actually they decreased in value in my eyes. Their characters and their character development throughout the story definitely didn't get better. It definitely got worse, especially for the female lead character. And I'm not one to really hate on manga relationships. She would always come to the conclusion every chapter that if something was happening, then it was her fault and she needed to work harder at not caring about things so much, which I just found really silly and didn't progress the story at all. Didn't make me feel happy, didn't make me feel anything except really annoyed at the main character for blaming herself for things that were out of her control, or if she felt like her partner or her male love interest was working too much, she always blamed herself for that, and I didn't like that at all. The main story of this one is that a girl has to work off a debt that her father got and continues to keep getting because he's really bad with money, but the daughter, she can't really stop him from getting into all of this trouble, so she has to work a lot of jobs. Conveniently for herself, one day this mysterious man comes into one of the jobs where she is working, but at the time she kind of doesn't give him the time of day and kind of leaves before he can talk to her. Well, at her main job, her day job, she is kind of an office worker and she gets called to the office of the CEO of this company company, and she finds out that this guy that was at her hostess club that she kind of didn't really like and didn't give the time of day is actually her boss. And this is where the convenience comes in. He just proposes to her, pretty much asks her to marry him. And the main reason for this is because his grandfather, who is the head of the massive company, head that this CEO works under, they own a lot of companies, whatever, they're rich. Okay, they're rich. They got a lot of moolah. Was in love with this girl's grandma. Are you keeping up? It's kind of confusing. So he wants his grandson, who is the CEO of this company, to marry this girl. So she says yes, because of course she won't have any debts left. She won't have to work multiple jobs. She can just kind of exist without having to be stressed out about money. The whole story is these two just kind of going back and forwards and their relationship dynamic and how they're going to try and make this work. Of course, there is another plot line for the male lead. He is trying to work so hard at his job so he can be the head of the company, not just the company that he is CEO of now, but the whole family company. They own a lot of different branches. He wants to be the head of that family so he can find out who killed his mother. So he works a lot, and because he works a lot, of course, trouble happens in their relationship. They need to sort it out and work it out. And like I said, the main female character really always blames herself for this. She feels like it's her fault that her partner doesn't always come home, blah, 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 whatever. She needs to be more supportive of him. This is a questionable relationship dynamic that I'm just not a big fan of. But yeah, so the start of the manga, it's okay, it's fine. Like, I don't hate this by any means. I think the main female character is fun, she's chirpy, she's got spirit. I just found the story to be a little bit too drawn out and very repetitive, and I feel like the main female character was used as a plot device to drag this out longer than it needed to be by creating drama that didn't need to be there, by always blaming herself. Yeah, that's it. That's this manga. I liked it. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to love it. Let's talk about Hana-Kimi. I started reading Hana-Kimi this month, the middle of this month. And I was really enjoying it. I was enjoying it more than I thought I probably would enjoy it. I thought it was going to be okay. I thought I would like it. I actually really started to love it, but like myself, I needed a little bit of a palette cleanse. I probably read about 3 volumes before I moved on to my favorite manga of the month, and this is definitely an A+ manga for myself. I loved it. It's one of my favorites, but it is an oldie, so I can't get any volumes anywhere yet, but I'm looking and I'm searching for them, and I will pick them up when I can. But I started reading Happy Hustle High, and I'm not the biggest fan of the title, don't get me wrong, it's a bit cringe, but the story is amazing. I love this so much. Happy Hustle High is about a girls' school that is combining with an all-boys school, so they are becoming co-ed. Fun? Yes. Adorable? Yes. Giddy feelings? Yes. Female lead is a really fun, cheerful, and outspoken girl, but what I love about her so much and what makes this so unique is that she isn't too in your face and annoying. She's cool, okay? She's a cool girl, but her hair is frizzy. It gets frizzy, it gets untamed, it gets like a lion's mane. I did not mean to rhyme that at all. She's always trying to fix her hair. She's always trying to put hairspray in it, try to slick it down with gel, and it's a fun time. She's fun. I like her. She's one of my favorite female characters in a manga that I've read in such a long time. The story goes, when this girls' school and this boys' school is combined, she is trying to talk to this boy, but he just ignores her. Flat out ignores her. So she thinks, okay, maybe this guy didn't hear me. Maybe he can't communicate or speak in a way that I'm going to understand him. So She goes, okay, that's cool, whatever. But this boy later, she finds out, is the vice captain or something like that, and he's giving a speech to the girls because they have to have an assembly or a meeting when they combine schools, blah blah blah, whatever. And she goes, wait, why didn't he speak back to me? I was talking to him, he could hear me, he can speak, he can communicate, so I'm going to go and confront him. And that's what she does. And then this beautiful connection, kind of beautiful, forms between the two of them. And yeah, I don't really want to give too much away because I want you to go and read this manga, because I know it's an oldie but it's a goodie, and I haven't heard anything about this manga from anybody. And let me tell you, this manga is so underrated, and there are only 5 volumes, which is so devastating to me because I just wanted it to keep going on forever. But it's short, it's sweet, the story wraps up in a really beautiful way as well. I just love this so much. I wish there was 30 volumes, but I mean, if there was 30 volumes, it would probably be too long. And of course, after reading this, I went back and tried to read Hana-Kimi, and I noticed that there are a lot of similarities between Happy Hustle High and Hana-Kimi. The main one being the 2 female leads are both the same as Happy Hustle High, the main love interest, and then the second love interest. They're both the same. So I was confused. I was like, wait, what am I reading? And I'm reading this in Hana-Kimi, but it was better in Happy Hustle High. So I was enjoying Hana-Kimi, but now I'm kind of not, because I'm like, wow, I'm comparing them, and Happy Hustle High was so much better for myself. And I know so many people love and adore Hana-Kimi, but I actually preferred Happy Hustle High. I think it's just slipped under the radar for so many people, and I think a lot of manga definitely do, and then other series get a lot more recognition, even though I don't know if they deserve it or not. Happy Hustle High did the male lead, in my opinion, so much better than Hana-Kimi did. The male lead in Hana-Kimi isn't as developed, I feel like, and the personality isn't as good as the male in Happy Hustle High. Happy Hustle High was the party, and then later the next day, I think Hana-Kimi was the hangover with the headache that was kind of just in my way, that I was like, I don't really think I can deal with you right now. So I kind of left Hana-Kimi. I did read a volume, but I didn't want to spoil my enjoyment of Hana-Kimi by comparing it to Happy Hustle High. So I had to go and read something else. I started my reread of Love Me, Love Me Not. Now, I read this way back when, like 10 years ago, when I was a teenager, when I was just in my manga and anime phase, and I would read and watch absolutely everything. So I actually couldn't remember if I did read this manga, but since starting it again, and I think I'm on volume like 8 now, I'm almost finished. I definitely now remember reading this, and this manga is just one of those happy, feel-good high school dramas that we all love and adore. It's so cute, it's so adorable. I love all of the characters, I love the storyline. Of course, I love a high school setting in a Japanese school. This is just a must for any shoujo fan. 2 female girls are trying not to love the boys that they love in a way that respects their own emotions and feelings for this love for these boys, but in a way that is also respecting their friends. And the 2 male leads are kind of doing the same as well. They're trying to navigate this interwoven web of who likes who, who's allowed to like who without me hurting my friend or my sister or anything like that. It's a story that is definitely touchy because of the relationships and the connections between the characters. But yeah, it's fun. It's not too difficult to follow, of course. I think I'm making it sound really difficult, but it's not. It's a cute high school drama with drama. That's it. That is my manga reading wrap up for the month of April. If you've read any of these books, please leave a comment down in the comment section and let me know what you thought about these. Do you have the same opinion as me, or is your opinion very different and you have a lot to say down in the comments? That's okay, because let's have a discussion. Let's start talking. Let's start getting the community interacting with talking about manga. Also, let me know down in the comments what I should read next and any recommendations. What do you think, based on this video, I would like and for me to pick up next? Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. I'm planning to do a recommendation video, so if you're excited about that, please make sure that you do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!